For thousands of years, the continents we now call North and South America were filled with people, the first peoples. They lived here long before any ships came from Europe. Their ancestors arrived many generations ago, spreading across every part of the land. They built homes in dense forests and on wide open plains. They learned to thrive in harsh deserts and along icy coastlines. This was their home. They understood its seasons, its plants, and its animals. They developed complex societies with rules, leaders, and lifeways rooted in place. The diversity of these peoples was immense, hundreds upon hundreds of distinct nations, each with its own language, spiritual beliefs, and unique culture. The Haudenosaunee formed a powerful confederacy. The Cherokee developed sophisticated farming. The Lakota were masterful hunters following the herds. The Pueblo peoples built cities of stone and adobe. The Americas were vibrant, populous, and organized for millennia. These societies were not simple or primitive. They were complex and highly organized. Extensive trade networks stretched for thousands of miles, connecting distant regions. Materials and ideas flowed between peoples. They tracked the movements of the sun, moon, and stars. Calendars and ceremonies followed the sky. Master craftspeople created beautiful pottery, intricate beadwork, and powerful art. Art told the stories of their people. They had governments, laws, and systems to resolve conflicts. Communities upheld justice and balance. Lives were full and meaningful, rooted in ancestral homelands. Understanding this long history is the first step to understanding Thanksgiving. Before Plymouth and the Pilgrims, this land was home to millions. A land with its own history, its own stories, its own civilizations. Thanksgiving does not begin with a ship. It begins with the Wampanoag and many other nations. Where did the first peoples of the Americas come from? There are two kinds of answers. One answer comes from science. The other comes from the sacred stories of native peoples. Both speak to a deep connection between people and place. Scientists study bones, tools, and genetics. They theorize an ice age migration across a land bridge into North America. Over long ages, skilled hunter-gatherers moved south and east. Eventually, the entire hemisphere, from the Arctic to the far south, was populated. Finds like Clovis tools date these movements to over 13,000 years ago. New evidence suggests even earlier arrivals, perhaps by sea along the coast. It is a story of journeys and human adaptability. Native nations have their own origin stories. Stories of emergence, creation from soil and water, sky world, and ascent from earth. These are foundational truths: identity, sacred homelands, and responsibility to care for them. 1492 marked a turning point. Columbus and his ships reached the Caribbean, ushering in contact between separate worlds. Soon ships from Spain, Portugal, France, England, and others crossed the Atlantic. They sought gold, land, resources, and new trade routes. The first encounters were complex. Curiosity, trade, and alliances formed in some places. Indigenous knowledge guided newcomers in cultivating native crops. Furs and foods were exchanged for tools, cloth, and arms. Early interactions mixed cooperation, misunderstanding, and caution. But disease brought catastrophe. Smallpox, measles, influenza. Epidemics devastated communities, sometimes over 90%. Villages disappeared. Irreplaceable knowledge perished with elders. Different views of land deepened conflict. European claims and settlement pushed native peoples from their homes through force and broken promises. The famous 1621 feast is often pictured as a peaceful harvest celebration. Pilgrims and native people sharing turkey and pies, so the story goes. But the truth was more complicated and less peaceful. About 90 Wampanoag men, led by Usamequin, were present during the three-day event. They may have arrived in response to celebratory gunfire, as a precaution. Usamequin's alliance with the English was strategic, not merely friendly. Recent epidemics had weakened the Wampanoag and altered regional power dynamics. Firearms and alliances were tools for survival in a volatile landscape. Wampanoag contributed deer. The moment was more diplomatic than domestic. Later, the story was reshaped to promote national unity. For many, it is a painful distortion that erases land theft and broken treaties. A generation later, King Philip's War devastated the region's native nations. The happy myth hides the difficult truth of colonization. The story did not end in the 17th century. U.S. expansion brought removals, forced marches, and loss of homelands. Thousands died from disease, starvation, and exhaustion. Treaties were signed, then consistently broken. Removal gave way to forced assimilation. Cultures and languages were suppressed. The motto was grim: kill the Indian, save the man. Despite it all, native peoples endured and persisted. Today, sovereign nations and vibrant communities thrive across the U.S. They fight for treaty rights, culture, education, health, and governance. It is a story of survival, strength, and the enduring power of culture. As we reflect on Thanksgiving, we can choose the full history. For many, it is a day of mourning begun by Wampanoag leader Frank James. Acknowledging this perspective is respect, learn, listen, support, and honor sovereignty and treaties.